It says Tom and Shane are live on Facebook. We're live every day at this time at 2 o'clock. And Tom and Shane, of course, are on the air. And hey, don't forget, we are also on the air Saturdays, 8 to 11, Mountain Daylight Time. And all you need to do to listen is go to KMMSAM.com, KMMSAM.com, and click Listen Now. And you can text us 24/7, 365 at 406-478-8298. You can do that during the show or comment on Facebook if you like. And you can also reach us with our app, AM 1450 KMMS, our app. Get it at the Apple Store or Google Play. You need that because you can just go to our podcast whenever you want. We record all of our shows. Yesterday, we had some kind of snafu, so Be Live is trying to run it down. They haven't yet, so hopefully today's show will be better, but we'll see. But theoretically, you can listen to all our previous shows at KMMSAM.com. And, of course, if you're watching us on YouTube, be sure and subscribe and like us and comment what you want to hear, what you like for us to talk about. Tom Eagle off your morning mayor, AM 1450 KMMS in Bozeman, Montana, and half man, half amazing, the best co-host working in radio ever, Shane Taubman, half man, half amazing, in Vancouver, British Columbia. And, well, Shane, here we go. The riots continue. I mean, it never ends, right? 7 days.
Yeah, what do you think of those COVID glow crowds in New York City today after last night on Madison?
I know, yeah.
Oh, my goodness gracious. Yep, I bet New York has another spike, Tom, because, and it's incredible. But
in the COVID virus stuff, you mean?
Yeah, in New York, yeah. Because
well, they probably will. Yeah, I would.
Crowd today's like 200,000 people out, peacefully demonstrating, but no social distancing. I mean, it's just unbelievable.
Yeah. No, I don't know what these people are thinking, and they keep going back to the same story of blaming everybody except for the cause of this, and that's the people that are out there rioting and doing whatever. And as I mentioned yesterday, the problem is that the black community needs to start policing itself. They need to start cleaning themselves up a little bit and getting. Well,
the problem I have is that, the woke media, once again, we've talked about this briefly. I'll make an added comment. There's no shaming in regards to what's going on. And so basically, so basically the kids that are involved with the gangs that are involved with Ativa, that it's like they're entitled now to do it. Your media is basically giving them entitlement to go out and do this.
Well, yeah.
And there's not enough demolition, politicians and clergymen on TV, shaming them. And just the closest was his brother that spoke, yesterday in Indianapolis. And what he said was very true. And what are you doing? I mean, this is you can come here and demonstrate. You can come here and be upset. You can come here and relieve your anger, but don't come here and destroy the neighborhood.
Yeah. Well, the whole thing is, it's police brutality. Well, exactly when did police brutality start? Was it April 1st of 1973 or, was that the day the police just decided to go out and, hey, we're just going to be really totally brutal to black people?
Yeah, that's right. And
I think that was a response over a period of time. With the entitlement, you're entitled to all these things with the Great Society, and you're entitled to 99 weeks of unemployment, and you're entitled to food stamps, and you're entitled to all this free stuff if you'll just vote for us. But as a trade-off, the police are just going to beat the hell out of you.
Yeah, and I saw a congressman on last night from Chicago, African American, commenting about we have to we have to rebuild these cities so they're better, and we have to make sure our schools are funded so we can educate, and that's what's been going on for 30 years, and it's
Well, I was going
failed.
to
I
say
mean,
schools are funded,
I
but
know.
there's no discipline in the school. There's, you can call your teacher every name in the book, and nothing's going to happen to you.
And
Yeah.
we've been on the radio now for 10 years, and
Hmm.
10 years ago, that's a decade.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a long time at my age.
Yeah.
And I recall having conversations. There was that guy O'Reilly made famous because he'd go out, to spring breaks, and This Is My World, and he'd interview all the kids from
Mhm.
high school on, at spring break, and none of them knew anything.
Yeah.
This is a lost generation of educated people, and
Mhm.
then then you had the whole issue with conversations we had about academia and how liberal it was in the universities, and we were saying 10 years ago, what's this going to be like in 10 years? Well,
Mhm.
folks, now you
Now we
got
know. Yeah.
the college graduates 10 years later
Yep.
are all, they're all demonstrating in the street,
Yep.
and the kids are rioting. And that's the result of great education in your country. I hate to say that, but
Yeah.
that's to me a strong indication of the problem.
Well, as we talked about yesterday, the whole problem here, no father in the home, and that's encouraged by the government.
Mhm.
We're not going to pay you child support or pay for your kids or anything if there's a man around. So let's destroy the family unit to begin with,
Well,
and
particularly the African American family unit.
yeah,
Yeah.
and also let's make sure that any kid who tries to excel in school is bullied or called an Uncle Tom or somehow persecuted, that they're not following the rap music and the pants around the knees and everything, because that's where your success is going to be.
Yeah,
Everybody wants to be a drug dealer and buy the drive the big fancy car.
that's right. And it's 3 generations later since the Great Society and
Yeah.
what we're talking about. And the bottom line is that you got to keep a line because we want to keep getting this money.
Well, that's
You
it.
know,
Yeah. Well,
if you
well,
don't toe the
yeah.
line, you won't get the money.
Yeah. Well, as you're talking about these kids on, that are being interviewed by Jesse Waters on, during spring break or wherever, that they don't know anything.
Nothing.
We've got standardized tests now. That's all we have to teach you. You have to pass a standardized test. If you can do that, as far as we're concerned, you're educated. But that
That's
may
right.
not include George Washington or, the Civil War or, I don't know. I can never remember when the War of 1812 is, but whenever that happened, I don't know. But you can't remember.
Yeah.
They don't teach this stuff in school anymore. They don't teach you how to balance a checkbook. They don't
Nope.
teach you about money. They don't teach you about, I don't even think they have home
Resume.
ec anymore for women,
Yeah.
for anybody. Yeah.
Yeah. The basic qualifications coming out of high school, and we're talking about 4 million kids every year. That's a
Yeah.
lot of
Oh,
kids.
yeah.
You know?
Well, that's the thing, though. I mean, uh, I don't know. Several years ago, I did a lecture at Montana State University, and a few days later, I got a packet of thank yous from the students.
Well, that's commendable.
Misspellings, bad grammar, you name it, Shane. I mean, all typed out. They weren't handwritten. I mean, they were all typed out really nicely. And apparently, spell check was unavailable.
They weren't coherent.
What? I quite frankly, I was shocked that kids make it into college that can't write or can't, form a sentence.
Or spell.
Yeah. Yeah.
The old adage for 200 years has been reading, writing, and arithmetic.
That's right. Yeah.
And very few people leave high school now because they just move them through the system. They
That's
don't
it.
want, they don't want to admit failure. Oh no, we'll just pass them on to the 4th and 5th grade, 6th grade.
Yeah. That's what they did. When I went to school, there were kids left behind in the 1st grade.
Oh,
you don't see that
absolutely.
anymore. I mean,
and a lot of boys.
yeah, I mean, you're just shoveled on. You're just shoveled on to the next thing, and I don't know. As long as you can get
Move up.
the lowest passing grade, you're on your way.
That's right. And that's why it's so interesting because I remember back in the 60s that first grade was always the crowded grade because there was kids held back,
Yeah.
room size,
Oh yeah.
students in the room. And we never talked about it, because that would be
Yeah.
shaming, but you weren't
Oh yeah.
allowed to shame. You
Yeah.
you shame somebody, you'd get that long, 1 yard
You throw a yardstick on your
yeah,
knuckles.
yardstick. Exactly. I remember
I'm
my
sorry.
first grade teacher, Mrs. Chestnut. Oh my God, she was like 5'6", and she was like, she had to be in her 60s and these round glasses,
Yeah.
and boy, she was tough, baby. Oh,
Yeah.
God.
In your case, they hit you with a meter stick.
That's right. Yeah, they had to. Well, but I was more afraid she might say something to my parents because
Oh yeah.
back then, gosh, if they had a
Yeah.
parent-teacher conference, which they did, and
Yeah.
she happened to say, your son's unruly in class. Oh my
Mhm.
God, my parents, if my father had heard that, I wouldn't have been able to sit down for a week. Literally.
Oh
I
yeah.
mean,
Yeah.
and you know what I mean
No.
by it, right?
No, yeah. Go ahead and tell the police. Just don't tell my parents.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can tell the cops whatever you want, but don't tell my parents anything.
And we had the first woman principal in Montana in Poly Drive, Mrs. Linnerdale.
Oh
Wow,
yeah.
6 foot tall, with high
Wow.
heels, 6'2", big bun in her hair, and she had a red pencil stuck on one side and a regular pencil stuck on the other side. Like
All right.
Chinese sticks, right? Oh
She
my
was
God!
ready. She was ready to give you the red mark
Oh, and the offer
at any,
makeup.
at any
Oh,
point.
oh, yeah, she was tough,
She
baby.
put a big check on your forehead or something like that, or
Yeah, you didn't. No one talked to Linnerdale. I mean, just avoid her.
okay. Yeah.
Turn your back.
I don't know. Anyway, the other thing I wanted to talk about, Shane, today is why don't these protesters have permits? I mean, every time you want to have some kind of a women's march or a abortion march or a VFW march or whatever, you got to go down to City Hall and get a permit. So where the hell are the permits for these folks? And second of all, why are they not relegated to a specific protest area?
That's right, like
They
Central
can't
Park.
just take to the streets and stop traffic and all of the other stuff.
Yeah. Why should they be allowed to block business all day long on a street when they can go to Central Park in the case of New York? There's parks in every city they could go to,
Yeah,
right?
and Central Park's not the biggest one. I mean, they got bigger parks in New York than Central Park. It's just the best known one.
Well, that's on Manhattan. That's why. Of
Well,
course.
yeah.
But yeah, that's right. And I saw ex-mayor Giuliano talking about when he was mayor once, and there'd been issues, and 750 people were coming across the Brooklyn Bridge, and he told the chief of police, the commissioner, stop them, and if they don't turn around, go back, start arresting them.
Yeah.
And, his rule was real simple. If you break a law, you're arrested. If the second one breaks a law, you're arrested. If the third guy runs away,
Yeah,
he knows
pretty
you
much.
gotta-
Yeah, that's kind of what happens. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yeah. Well,
But
and
they arrested a lot of people
yeah.
last night in L.A. and New
well,
York.
well, that's true. But the thing Giuliani did that cleaned up New York is that he
Oh.
put everybody in the system. I mean, they were there with DNA. They were there with fingerprints. If they were picked up, they were
Mhm.
processed.
That's correct.
And
and
that's what stopped
murder rate-
crime, and that's what stopped crime in New York City because trace evidence left behind would lead, because of their records, who the guy or gal
Right.
was. You know?
And he left the city that he took over with 2,000 murders a year, over 2,000, to
Oh, yeah.
less than 300.
Yeah.
That's pretty staggering when you think even that. You wonder, wow, a person dies or is murdered every day in New York City. But now
yeah.
New York City's going to recover. Who's going to travel to New York City?
Yeah.
And feel safe walking down Madison Avenue and Fifth Avenue. I mean,
Yeah.
now you have the stigma, right? It's a
Yeah, not
stigma.
today anyway. Yeah. Well,
Well,
and look at how much we rely on tourism here in New York, and people aren't going to stop coming to Montana because of the riots. But it's bad enough they were going to stop coming because we have such a low case of the virus. Maybe they figure it's safe to come here and bring the virus with them. I don't know, but.
well, the only riot you have is at the dump in West West Yellowstone, right? Where the Grizzlies are fighting over the leftovers, right?
I was going to say, yeah. Come to Montana and pet the bears.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
no problem.
Yeah.
Pet
I
the
don't really want to go there.
Especially pet the buffalo. They love that.
Yeah.
Especially if they got little ones with them.
Yeah, but with all these wild animals, you even if you were, which you should never do, get in within 5 feet of them, they don't smell very good. Like, why would you want? I mean, and they have all kinds of, diseases. Like,
well, of course, yeah. Well, but
even Ricky Raccoon, you feed Oreos to out the back door. He's got lots of diseases.
Well, sure, yeah. What can I tell you, man?
You can't. It's all too overwhelming in some degree.
A guy on a bicycle got attacked by a bear riding his bike through some trail somewhere.
So how did didn't you have a parade or a protest or?
We did on Sunday. Somewhere between 1,000 and 2,000 people showed up, depending on your source of information.
Because you had all of those wise and knowledgeable journalists, right?
Right. Yeah. Paper's got one number. TV's got another number. So I don't know.
Yeah. The Pulitzer winners were wrong.
Yeah. Well, we had several marches in Montana. Of course, we had one here in Bozeman, and we have to because, we're the liberal bastion. And Missoula, of course, had one. Great Falls had one.
Yeah.
And, it's just, it's a Me Too. It's a Me Too thing.
That's all it is.
That's all it is, If they were worried about racial inequality, why didn't they have the march in last February?
Well, that's right. And
yeah.
That's why yesterday I had to reread what Obama said in his release, where he admitted that he'd failed in the last 10 years to do anything about any of these racial problems. I mean,
yeah.
You have to read.
And he was the guy that we thought would be the one to bring the country together to say, at last, this racism thing is dead and buried because we finally elected a black guy to the presidency. We got blacks on the Supreme Court. We got blacks in Congress. We got,
and back in 10 years ago, again, 2008 and so forth, or certainly in his second election, 2012, we were on. And we talked about the big elephant in the room, and that was how many white people voted for him because he was black, because they wanted to tell the world, we're not a racist country. I mean, that was a real conversation 10 years ago.
Well, it was, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, if you remember, it's been longer than 10 years ago, but the simultaneously, the mayors of New York and Los Angeles were both black.
That's right.
We thought, man, here we go. This is finally the end of this. That we're starting to get black people are starting to get into higher politics, and they're going to better them. They're going to be role models for their citizens, and the whole racial thing is going to disappear. And where are we today?
And they're going to run the cities, and they're going to be bastions of academia and educations, and nothing.
Yeah. Nothing. Well, all we are is, it's white privilege, white privilege, white privilege. And
well, that's the accusation, but it's it's black entitlement, black entitlement, black entitlement.
Yeah.
And then middle class America gets left behind.
Yeah.
On top of all that, right?
Yeah.
So anyway,
Bruce says, Tom, I voted. They forgot to send me a ballot. All right. Well, good. Well,
you voted anyway, though.
At least you voted anyway. Good for you. Linda says a lot of these mayors, Democrats, let this crap out, or let this crap of rioting go on and complain about the economy and police when they were mayors for 50 years. Mayor of New York wants money now. Let's looting go on and ask for more money. Yeah, I need money to clean up the looting. So what's the problem here anyway?
That's right.
Yeah.
And, I just want to bring this up because we're talking about it, and we like to teach our people that listen and see us something new every day. So the Insurrection Act of 1807, we did go over a bit, and, it provided for posse comitatus, which we talked about specifically. But I was reviewing all this because of his comment yesterday about if the states don't enforce, then he will. But I thought it would be interesting for people to know about the Insurrection Act. The first time it was used is April 19th, 1808 by Thomas Jefferson. I won't go through all the earlier ones, but there's this huge jump between, only a few times in the 1800s, but basically over strikes or, like Woodrow Wilson in 1914 in Colorado, the Coldfield War, but I thought it would be interesting for people to know that the big one was Franklin Delano Roosevelt used it in 1943 during the war in Detroit because of the 1943 Detroit riots. Eisenhower, of course, we all know about that. Little Rock, Arkansas, the Little Rock Nine going to school. But John F. Kennedy used it twice. Oxford, Mississippi, Ole Miss riot of 1962 in Alabama. Enforcement of the desegregation orders in Alabama with the then famous Georgian governor who ran for president. But here's an amazing
George Wallace. Yeah.
George Wallace. Lyndon Johnson, four times. Detroit, Michigan in 1967. Washington, D.C. riots in 1968. Baltimore, Maryland in 1968. And then again in Chicago in 1968. Of course, that was a terrible year of the loss of MLK and Robert Kennedy. But and then of course you had the war. George H. Walker Bush, St. Croix, United States Virgin Islands used it because of Hurricane Hugo. But then, of course, he had to use it in Los Angeles in the 1992 riots because of what went on there. So it's not, this has not been used before, this Insurrection Act, and mostly in the 20th century. That's what's really remarkable, right?
Yeah.
So I just wanted to bring that up for the folks, and I thought that would be interesting. And the other thing I wanted to bring up real quickly, if I may, with regards to whether or not there's two other things everyone today should learn about is the Third Enforcement Act, 1871. Now, the Enforcement Act of 1871, also known as the Civil Rights Act of 1870, was also known as the Force Act of 1871, the Ku Klux Klan Act, Third Enforcement Act, or the Third Ku Klux Klan Act. And it was an act of the Congress which empowered the president to suspend the writ of habeas corpus and, to combat, white supremacy organizations that were causing problems in the states and rioting. And it's really an amazing thing to come to terms with when you look at where you are today in this situation. And now spin forward to today to John Warner, that great demolition senator from Virginia. He has a bill. It's called the John Warner National Defense Authorization Act for fiscal year 2007. Well, not only does it grant, and this is in an act, so this is law passed by Congress, approved by the Senate. I got the numbers and funding for it. They can spend up to $10 billion for the Army, $17 billion for the Navy, $24 billion for the Air Force, and $21 billion for defense-wide activities, which would fall under this. And it gave expansions of the president's power to declare martial law under provisions of the Insurrection Act and take charge of the United States National Guard troops without state governor authorization when public order has been lost and the state and its constituted authorities cannot enforce the law, amended again in 2008 by H.R. 4986, Section 1066. So I read all that for our listeners to know what he's proposing to do. He has every right to do as president. It's the law.
Yeah. Ed says, I voted for Obama twice. I believed that it was a chance for a black president to prove his worth. He damn sure did. And after 50 years of being a Democrat, I voted Republican and will again.
Yeah.
There you are. Yes. Well, I don't know if the president is going to be able to, in 2020, put military troops on American soil. I don't know if that's going to work or not.
He can use the military police. Look, there's 17 departments under the.
None of that makes any difference. It doesn't matter how many troops or how many people he's got. I just don't think in 2020 that the American people are going to allow that, because that is just a step closer to the government taking over. You know, I mean, it just is. And I just don't think the American people are going to go for it.
An interesting poll out yesterday by CNN, I believe. But it said that undecided and independents, their approval rating of their president has gone up 10% because of his handling of it, of this whole last week.
And Biden's ahead by 10% in national polls.
5, I think. 5. No,
10. 10 I saw. Anyway.
Yeah. Whatever.
I can look it up real quick for you.
Yeah. I said, no, 90%. He's got it running away.
Nah, I don't know.
337 electoral votes. Oh, yeah. It's
okay. All right. Well, I don't know. The latest polls, a lot of them have Biden up. A lot of them.
Well, like you said, when you saw him today at that church, reading a teleprompter, which was nice speech, very, very, very political and a stump speech now that he'll probably run with, because today's election day, right? You have a primary in your state.
We do have a primary today. Yep. And,
you've got your ex-congressman. Well, he's still congressman, but Gene Ford, he's in a primary to run for governor.
Governor, yep.
Now, is Bullock got someone challenging him in the primary? Or is he just standalone?
I'm pretty sure he's standalone. Yeah.
He's without.
It's him and Daines. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, general election, CBS News, Biden by 4, ABC News, Biden by 10, St. Pete polls, Biden by 1, We Ask America, whatever the hell that is, Trump by 4, Economist, Biden by 3, Siena, Biden by 25, KUTV 2, whatever that is, Trump by 3, Gonzalez Research, Biden by 24. So that's your latest presidential polls.
Well, folks, let's just see what happens when they have those. Is it just 2 debates? Right. Biden's agreed to 2 debates, right? So.
Well, I think so. But those will be after the conventions. And of course, we have to mention that the GOP convention will not be held in Charlotte. The governor says, I don't know what the COVID virus thing is going to be like in August. Can't guarantee, that people will be medically safe there. So they're going to have to decide either they're going to do what the Republicans or what the Democrats are thinking about doing is a virtual convention. Well, it's probably viral if they're doing it, but anyway, that
would be a fair argument.
That'd be a fair argument, I think. Yeah, that'd be true. So I don't know. We'll see what we'll see how they what they decide to do. But a lot of states have come forward and said, "Hey, we'll be happy to have it here." So the GOP has some thinking to do about what they want to do, how many people are going to have, and what's going to happen with it.
Don't you think it'll end up in Florida? I think it'll end up in Florida.
I hope not. But anyway, that
Why do you say that?
well, well, I don't know. Florida's kind of a toss-up sometimes. Generally, they vote Republican, but it would be a toss-up. I think you need to hold a convention in a state like North Carolina where you need votes. You need to make sure some of those states, if they had it in Michigan, if they had it in Pennsylvania, if they had it in Wisconsin, the
Well,
Democrats are having theirs in Wisconsin,
yeah,
but yeah.
but I
So
think the big
supposedly,
problem with the governor of North Carolina is he's up for re-election. So
yeah,
he doesn't want to
yeah.
fall on
So
the
that's
sword, right? He doesn't want to look to be embracing the Republicans.
well, yeah. That would be a definite definite problem. So yeah. Well, I don't know. It'd be interesting to see. The other thing that might shed some light on this convention, Shane, is you've got all these cities with all these demonstrators. If all these cities turn out to be hotspots of COVID 2 weeks from now, or whatever, that may be a big decision for these folks to make.
Well, and I think that we all talk about how politics are local,
Yeah.
and the governor of Florida has been doing a really good job with COVID. We don't need to
Mhm.
argue that. And I think he sort of sent out that one of those
Mhm.
emails when saying, "Look, we got to calm this down here because we want to have the convention here, right? Because it's a
Yeah.
big money thing. I mean, you're talking about $300 million being dropped in your city. That's serious coin. It's just serious coin. 50,000 people, they're going to spend $4,000 or $5,000 each, right, to come into your city. So
Well, yeah.
you're talking big bucks, and it's a financial side of it for a city, not just a designation, of course, but it could be somewhere in Texas, but I don't see Texas. Could be California, but that would turn into a riot for sure.
Yeah.
But you're right. They got to go somewhere where it's not going to be a problem. We mentioned yesterday the sad thing about the possibility of COVID spikes in all these cities is with these young Black kids going home with their parents who are the most vulnerable, not their grandparents.
Mhm.
Parents are vulnerable. And
Right.
again,
Yeah.
all these crowds, it was interesting in Indianapolis, people went across the river to St. Paul and went to the Capitol, but they had a peaceful demonstration, but you could see everybody was, they were all out sitting on the grounds, but, keeping their space, proper spacing.
Mhm. Yeah.
Some people, it's amazing, are paying attention and realizing this virus is still around, right? Like
Yeah.
it's not like they these people have done something to get rid of it, right? Like
Well, yeah.
the rioting has not gotten it to go away.
No, it
Looters have
hasn't.
not stolen the virus. Okay, let's make that clear to everyone.
Yeah. Bruce says John Moe, MOE, is still on the Democratic ticket with Bullock. And of course, Elizabeth Warren's still on there. So is, I believe, Bernie probably still. Don't know. I don't remember on the ballot whether they're both on there or not. But anyway.
Yeah.
Today should be the day Biden wraps up the convention or wraps up the nomination. Yeah. He'll have the delegate count by the end of today to go in undisputed.
Sure.
And he'll be the presumptive nominee unless the Democrat Party just explodes and decides that Elizabeth Warren and Cuomo will be better choices.
Oh, Cuomo would be really bad. No,
yeah.
The guy, I mean, he's still on TV, Pastor Cuomo, every day. I mean, talking about the riots and complaining about de Blasio and how he had to call out the National Guard, but de Blasio wouldn't call and ask for it. So, I mean, it's just.
Well, I was going to say that, and de Blasio, what's he thinking? 11 o'clock curfew, 11 p.m.? What is he thinking? I mean, come on. I realize it's the city that never sleeps, but come on.
Oh my goodness! I it was staggering to see
Yeah.
it really was. And of course they went after Tiffany's, and of course today the LVMH, it's the luxurious company in France that's bought up all the fabulous things like liquor and with brand names and purse companies like
Yeah, all the high
high.
hoity-toity.
Last November, they had announced that they were going to buy Tiffany's for $16.2 billion. Now today, the board is convening to reconsider the offer because of what's going on with everything in the United States.
With New York, are they gonna buy it and watch it be trashed, or?
Well,
I don't know. I'm pretty sure De Blasio will have a couple of cops in front of Tiffany's. I would think.
No, they didn't. No, it was on TV last night on Fifth Avenue. Yeah, they, and
Well, they didn't trash Tiffany's.
No. But they were down there with stores near.
They're on Fifth Avenue. That's I'm assuming Fifth Avenue is kind of a long street.
Yes, it is. Yeah.
Okay.
But that's the street of Trump Tower too, and
Yeah.
Of course,
Well, I know they had cops out in front of Trump Tower.
Yeah.
In Chicago and some other places.
Yeah, and in Washington D.C. too, especially.
Yeah. All right.
They're trying to sell that,
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Linda said Biden gave a speech I listened to today, probably written by Obama, blaming Trump for vandalism and lying about St. John's Church. Joe sucking up to minorities.
Yeah.
Well, he didn't condemn any riots or anything during the speech. I thought it was pretty presidential, though. Reading off the teleprompter, he presented himself pretty well, I thought.
Yeah. And 10 people watching, because there's nobody can be in a church but 10 people. But
well, yeah, but
it was
still
a great.
I mean,
no, but it was a great. At least he didn't talk about them, being, they're going to put you back in chains. Remember that speech?
Yeah, he didn't say that.
No, he did that 8 years ago or whenever, when he was vice president in 2012 when they ran.
Mm-hmm. Linda also says Mayor of New York, Bill Baby needs to grow a pair of oranges.
Yes, turns my oranges to see what he's not doing. And apparently he was out till 2 a.m. driving around doing what, and then this morning at his press conference, he was complaining about the police. He wasn't complaining about these looters and these people that are I mean, I look at this and I
just want to say, where did this police brutality originate? And it seems like if one group of people are going to be brutal to another group of people, either, I don't know, there's a reason there's brutality between two groups of people.
Well, let me tell you, I drove through the southeast part of the United States back in the 70s. I took a long trip and drove down the coast of the West Coast, drove along the Caribbean coast, all the way from, Texas to Louisiana, Florida, around Florida, up the East Coast.
I think that's Gulf of Mexico coast, but that's okay.
The Caribbean, yeah whatever. But I didn't have, it's not that I had a lot of engagement with any police, but I can tell you that having Montana license plates, literally, I in all the southern states that I drove through, like, Alabama and Louisiana and so forth, I'd stop for gas and they'd say, you better be careful. The highway patrolmen are looking for people like you from out of state. Like, really? Like, I'm just a guy in a Honda, right? They don't care. They can see you from out of state. They'll follow you. So,
they probably will.
Yeah.
That's what Montana State Patrolmen do.
Well, here's a good lesson for everyone out there. If you don't know this, you should do it. And if you want to teach your children something, it's very important. If they ever get pulled over by police, the first thing they do is they take their wallet and their keys and put it on the dashboard, roll their window down, and then hold their steering wheel at 10 o'clock and 2 o'clock.
I wouldn't do that.
Yep, that's what you do. And
I wouldn't do that.
When the officer comes to your car and he sees you've got your hands on your wheel and your keys and your wallet on dashboard, he knows you've been taught something that is respectful for.
And while he's walking up to the car and I'm reaching in the back pocket for my wallet, he thinks I'm going for my sidearm. That's what he thinks is going to happen.
You try and get it out quicker than after you're pulled over, like as you're pulling over. Or
what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a very big deal about taking my seatbelt off.
Of course you are.
And then I'm going to roll down my window. I will put my hands on the steering wheel, but if he says, "Can I see your license?" I'm going to say, "Yes, you can. May I have permission to get it out of my back pocket?"
Well, there you go.
And that's what I would do. You're shuffling around in the car. He thinks you're hiding the pot under the seat.
Well, I never carried my wallet in my back pocket, so.
Oh, well. Okay. No.
I traveled.
I think the smart thing for you to do is just put your wallet on the dash when you get in the car. That's what,
actually, when I got my car, when I got my car, I put my wallet beside me on where right there somewhere between the seats, right? That's I always did.
Why?
Because of what we're talking about. In case this have
so you just assume that
because the first
thing the reason for this police brutality. You think people are just going to pull you over for nothing?
The first thing they ask you is for your insurance and your driver's license.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
You always say, if I may ask, could you put your flashlight on my glove compartment and for me to get my insurance, right? But I always had mine in that plastic little bag at the side of my seat. So
okay. All right.
Most people put it in the glove compartment, and I get that. But I'm just
that's where the insurance is. It's in and yes, permission. It's in the glove box.
Always ask.
Always ask. Yeah, can I get it out? Can I get it out for you?
Yeah.
And by the way, if you don't have it with you, they know whether you have it or not. They can check on their.
Well, that's what they first pull over. They give your license plate, and they find out if it wants or warrants or it's a stolen car. They have their protocol they follow too.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Well, now that we've got all this cleared up, no wonder there's police brutality.
Well, what's next? What do you want to talk about? We covered everything on my list already.
No, Minnesota is filing charges against the police in Minneapolis, the police department. The state of Minnesota is going to charge
or sue
the police force. Yeah, they're going to sue them.
Abridging his civil rights, right? Isn't that what you said?
That was, that's the deal. Yep. They are.
How great is that? And now let's go beat up on the police some more.
Yeah, why not? Huh?
Now that we've agreed that he was murdered by one of the police and three didn't do anything to stop it, let's blame them all. So I guess
that's right. Yeah.
This is Minnesota's way of reneging on their retirement benefits. You're going to lose in court, and so we'll just cut back on the fact we haven't paid the money into your retirement fund, so that's what we'll take. We'll settle for that.
Yeah. Well, according to the Associated Press, the state of Minnesota has filed a human rights complaint against the Minneapolis Police Department and for the Floyd murder, and after he, let's see, we know all that stuff. Video shows Floyd's death and whatever, and the officer's been fired and charged with third-degree murder and second-degree manslaughter. 3 other officers involved were fired but have not yet been charged, and I think they probably eventually will be.
I would suspect. I mean, they were involved in a crime. I mean, they allowed it to happen.
Yeah. Well, you're complacent if you just stand by and
that's right.
Don't intercede or whatever. So
definitely.
I do have a I don't. A lot of people, including Nancy Grace, of course,
Oh
Nancy.
my God, here we go. We know Nancy, don't we?
She says definitely should be murder one. Well, murder one is premeditated, and that's when you plan to kill the guy. So
Oh, no, all the
I think
lawyers
that's
on
going
the
to be.
no, gotta stop you
I
there.
think that's pretty hard to prove.
No, all the lawyers on the woke media in the last 3 or 4 nights, and they've had several of them say it was predetermined. That you don't make predetermination a week before or 10 days before or 2 days before. I mean, it can be within the time that you're right in the act. Well, he clearly knew after 1 or 2 minutes that this guy could not breathe. He was telling him that, people were saying it. And the fact is that he had within the first 3 or 4 minutes of holding him down like he was, the intent was now clear. He intended to kill him. That's basically what they're arguing. But we'll see. We'll see what happens.
You really think I'd fly in court? I'm gonna.
Oh yeah. No.
Yeah. Here's how I'm gonna. Yeah. Here's how I'm gonna kill this guy.
No, that'll fly in court. Just as the defense will bring up his autopsy and the fact he had drugs in him, and
Yeah.
but it's clear from the video if you watch the extended video, which I've done.
Oh sure. Yeah, I don't think anybody could dispute that he died from their actions.
Right, but he was dead when they lifted him onto the gurney. He didn't die.
Well, yeah. Oh, yeah. No, you're right. Well, the attorney for Floyd's family blasts medical examiner's findings that he was on fentanyl when he died as character assassination and claims the 3 other cops present at the scene will soon be charged. And I believe they probably will be charged with something, probably complacency or whatever.
Well, it's like the guy in that young man that was shot by those 2 family members, and they arrested the guy videotaping it because they said he was involved with it. So there's a big net when they want to dump, when they want to swoop you up, they will.
I don't know if people realize that in Montana we don't have first, second, third degree murder. We just have murder. Period. If you're either guilty or not guilty of murder. There's no 1, 2, or 3 degrees. Well, there isn't.
No, I know. But I'm as a citizen, I'm saying it. You either did or you didn't.
Well, that's what they say. Yeah, it was murder, whether it was premeditated, whether it was accidental, or whether it was whatever. I mean, there may be extenuating circumstances to the murder, but the charge is murder.
The insanity plea either. Okay, look, if you're going to claim insanity, then you're admitting that you committed the murder. Okay, to me, that's just the way I look at it.
Well, maybe this guy was insane when he was kneeling on this guy's neck.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I don't think you can come up with a reason for committing murder as an excuse to not be convicted. You know what I'm saying? Like everybody's saying, these shootings, like the guy in Las Vegas. Everybody's trying to. Why did he do it?
Yeah.
Well, he did it. I mean, it's
Yeah, it doesn't matter whether. Yeah, in Montana, it doesn't matter whether you're nuts or not. So
you can't because he wasn't doing well at the slot machines.
Yeah, I don't know if you realize this. There's a there's a murder case in Montana versus Eaglehoff. I don't know if you know that or not.
Yeah, we talked about that years ago.
I don't know if you remember.
Yeah, of course I do. But please, inform the listeners because this.
Well, it was a case of.
You're gonna like this Eagleman story.
Now I'm with my last name. I'm sure I'm related to this guy somewhere along the line. Yeah, I would.
Oh my God, that's not.
There's not a lot of us out there. Yeah. I mean, well, there's a lot of us out there, but I think we're all related. So.
Well, there's only 4 Montalbans out there that I know of. So.
Okay. Well, all you got to do is do a search on the internet, and Yeah.
But
So
in Spain, it's as common as Smith and Jones Montalvo. And there's a city in Spain called.
okay.
You know,
Well, I don't know.
there's one in France.
Yeah. Anyway, this guy claimed that he was so drunk he couldn't remember committing the crime.
Oh, that's what I'm saying.
So
What? What's that? You committed the crime. So you're
well,
admitting.
he didn't know he
I
did.
didn't want to know why you committed the
He
crime.
didn't know he did.
No, but that's not the point. I'm saying.
Well, I mean, how would you know he did it if he didn't know he did it? How would you know he did it?
Tom, if they have the evidence, they have the DNA, they have
Well,
the.
yeah, they got evidence. That was kind of the thing, Sort of like the Twinkie defense, the sugar made me do it.
Yeah. Yeah, my parents abused me so much I killed them both and ended up with all their money. Yeah.
That's right. Yeah. Well, boy. So anyway, let's bankrupt
you can't commit.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Well, glove fit him, it didn't fit me. All right. So is this lawsuit going to bankrupt the police department of Minneapolis? That would be the case.
Because
it'll be thrown out. You think it'll be thrown out?
Oh gosh.
Why bring it in the first place then if you think it's going to be thrown out?
Because of politics. They don't want responsibility. Remember, this is the state of the DFL party.
Well, that's true. Yeah.
Farmers Labor Party. So they think differently up there. So
okay. Well,
don't want to take the blame for it because look how they handled it. Come on, what do you mean?
Devil made me do it.
Yeah, that's right.
Governor's saying I didn't know anything about this till I saw the video.
For the last three shows, I keep saying we're all the demolition politicians. Well, they've all run for the hills because it's all cities, it's all their states. This is going on in demolition states, demolition urban cities, centers. And as I've said before, and I'll say all this year, they're going to deny the election in November when Trump wins a landslide. And then all sanctuary cities are going to want to become city states and segregate, but they're going to want 2 senators for each city because they want that representation.
And that ain't going to happen.
Watch it. And they're going to blame the whole economy on Trump, but now they can. Remember 2 weeks ago we were talking about this and I said to you, oh my gosh, Tom, I mentioned it on the show today and last night, a guy actually said that they're starting to blame Trump for the economy because of shutting it down. Well, not that. How would you be able to distinguish what's now happened and COVID with Trump causing the economy not to come back? How could you blame them? I mean, it's stupid. Well, but they look stupid all the time. So what? I guess it doesn't matter.
I feel pretty confident watching TV that this isn't the Minneapolis meeting of the GOP that's out there every night.
That's right.
I may be wrong.
You got that right, Eagle Man.
You never know.
That's a number
I don't think so. Yeah, I don't think the guys smashing the windows are card-carrying GOP, whatever.
And they're not card-carrying, demolition party members either. They're not going to vote.
Well, they probably won't vote. Yeah, that's for sure. Yeah, they're not gonna stand in line for 7 hours. That's for sure.
Well, and of course, if they do, they'll vote for the continued people, the same people running their cities, and they're not going to change anything.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I don't think. I don't know. This is such a mess. But let's move on to. We've got the famous Trump photo op at the church. That John Adams went to, I guess. So
Madison was
well, whatever. After three warnings, we have to clear Lafayette Park with tear gas and flashbang grenades and the National Guard and everybody else, so that Trump can walk across the street, hold up a Bible, and say, "Is this a great country or what?"
Now that's not what he was doing, and you're sounding as bad as the woke media.
Well,
and I'm
I'm not playing the devil's advocate here. We may have the demolition party listening to us. You
all
know,
right,
that's
well,
what they think. So
here's your double devil back at you.
okay,
You know,
give it to me.
Trump does this as a positive effort to show the American people that this can be dealt with. Number one,
Yeah.
he just makes a speech saying he's going to use the law, and we've gone over this on our show now for the last 4 or 5 days of all the precedent that he has of different acts to do it. And the clergy's outraged that he does this at the Church of the Presidents. Where's the clergy been for the last week? We've talked about it.
Yeah.
They come out and be outraged over Trump, but they're not outraged over the vandalism and the rioting and
It's justified because come on, police brutality. This is all justified. Every bit of it's justified. You know, maybe an overreaction of the justification, but it's justified. Come on, I can't come out and talk against it because you know what I'll be called if I come out against these people.
So that's what they're calling you. Well, they're calling me that then because I'm outraged by the arson and vandalism and looting and
you're an elite whitest.
Not even close to that. There was a time I have to admit. But I always tip big, Tom.
Well, of course.
I always tip big.
Well, we both do. You know that. But I don't know, but well, we're running out of time here. Let's do a quick market wrap up. Shane, markets are all positive so far. Dow's up a couple hundred points, and boy,
263, and
it's green across the board. I think for everything, even the last Facebook's up a little bit, but
oh yeah, and I mean the Standard & Poor's 500, it's up 12% now since the beginning of the year. But it's around the world. I mean, the recovery in Europe is staggering.
Yeah.
The FTSE's up 2%. The DAX in Germany is up 4.5%. 3% in the CAC in France, and even in little old Italy, 540 points. It's up. Their market 3%. Spain's up. I mean, there isn't a market in Europe that I've looked at today that isn't up. And of course, oil's up. West Texas is 36.90 now, up $1.42. Like that's 4%. Like Europe 39.63. It's up 3.5%. Natural gas by 177. Got to get to $2 or we got a problem. But the loser today is gold, down 15. Don't know why anyone would be selling it, but soy's being a big winner, 851. So it's only $150.
Close to that 1,000 mark. We need to be at, I think. But
wheat's at 508. It's got to get to 750. But I that's not having anything to do with China. That's and government, of course. Everybody loves your debt.
Yep, that's for sure.
I mean, if you're selling anything, they're buying more of your debt. And the 30 years at $1.49, up 4 cents, and the 1 month is at 0.69, 69 cents. And so it's the 10 years up, and currencies are even recovering. My goodness, of course, not all of them. 111 on the euro to the U.S. dollar, 125 on the pound sterling, and of course Canada is $1.35. That's like 65 cents.
I know.
I mean, folks,
come to Canada. You can't because it's closed, but
you can't get here. But when you can,
buy online from Canada.
Listen, there may be a few people thinking of doing that, Tom.
Buy online from Canada.
Yeah. Well, we have a couple from Texas that have a home on our street, and we have a couple from Washington that they have a home here. So there you go.
Oh, geez. We got to go just in time because the trash truck's here, and I don't think we've got the trash out to the street.
Tom, you're great.
We have four new cases in Montana of the COVID virus, 2 new cases in Gallatin, and 1 in Bighorn, 1 in Yellowstone. And Bighorn is Yellowstone is catching up with us. They're at 100. We're at 155, so they are fast approaching us. We've only got one active hospitalization going on right now, 523 cases, 462 recovered. So we're still in pretty good
We
shape
spiked
here.
overnight year 2005-97. We're up 24 with new cases. Two more lost souls at 166, but 28 more recovered. So we're at that 90% recovery rate is looking pretty good.
Yeah. Linda says, great show. Thanks. Sorry I talked too much. Linda, your all views are welcome here, man. So don't give it a second thought. Say goodbye, Shane, because I got to put the trash on the street.
Be happy, be safe, everyone. Live in the moment, live to work. Bless everyone in the U.S. and Canada, and thank goodness we all live in the two best country clubs in the world.
That's for sure. And if you're watching us on YouTube, be sure and subscribe and like us, please. And hey, thank you for watching. And hey, as I said, all views are welcome here. And don't forget, you think it there, we'll say it here. So we'll see everybody tomorrow. Bye-bye for now.